Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Game Development Log video diary, and this week I've been finishing off the entity editor and programming a parser to allow my game to read the entity files that the editor creates. So let's get straight into the updates that I've made to the entity editor, and first off I'm going to show you the finished particle settings. I've now got these error margins to work, allowing you to make the particle settings slightly more random. Gravity can now also be set to negative, which makes everything float up, and the direction setting is now more useful because I've added this diverge slider, which lets you choose the error margin for the direction, giving you some pretty nice cone effects. As well as that, you can now choose which particle atlas you want to texture the particles. And finally, I added some settings for particle targets, which suck the particles towards them like magnets. So I'll now open the tree entity, and you can see here that I've added a few more component choices. The tree already has the particle component here, which is creating the falling leaves effect, so let's now add a collision box component. When you add a component now, it removes it from the list of components, and you can also remove a component if you want, which will just put it back into the list. But let's now choose some collision objects for the tree so that our player can collide with it in game. And these are just OBJ files containing the collision meshes that I made surrounding the tree model in Blender. You can see the preview of the collision boxes over here on the left, but this only shows up when you're in the collision box tab, so it doesn't get in your way when you're adding different components. Finally, there are these two sound components. The sound emitter gives an entity the ability to emit sound, while the sound looper uses the sound emitter to play some random sounds on loop. This means that the sound looper requires the sound emitter, so if I tried to add the sound looper, it will automatically add the sound emitter as well. So in the sound looper there are first a couple of options to decide how long it waits between playing each sound, and I'll just set these to 0 so that our sound simply plays on loop. Then you can choose any number of possible sound effects for the sound looper to choose from, and it will just randomly choose one sound effect from the list to play each time. Finally, there's also an option here to choose the range of the sound effect, which determines how far away from the entity the sound can be heard. So now we've got our tree emitting this lovely wind chimes sound effect. So once you've finished creating an entity, you can save it, which will export it to a folder like this, which contains all the information and necessary resources that the entity uses. Then I can simply move that folder into my game's resource folder, and then I can use it in the game. All I have to do is to load the entity file and then place it wherever I want in the world. So I've put a couple of trees at these positions in the 3D world, and now if we have a look in the game, we can see these trees that I just created in the entity editor rendering nicely in game. So that is it for another week. Next week I'm going to be working on something a little less exciting, which is an improved OBJ model converter. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, IndieDB, or my new Facebook page to keep in touch and to see what I'm working on during the week. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching this video. Do subscribe if you haven't already. Have a fantastic week, and I will see you all next time.